Friends, family, fans, episode 83 of Back 9 Bets. Welcome back to that. Keegs and Theegs and company. Those are two boys. We've got three of them. It's going to be a fun one. It's the Farmers Insurance Open. I'm late. It's Hell Week. It's 6:06. Life goes on. Here we go. I'm not going to do the key stats. I'm not going to do the course breakdown. I did all of that stuff in my research show on Sundays. We're trying to keep this action-packed, let's rock and roll, jazzy situation, just like 30% off at Rotoballer. So last week we're doing this nonsense. 30% off, $17.40 a month. That's what it equates to if you use that 30% off code NEW for all of our stuff. Everything Rotoballer. Optimizer, Spencer stuff, my stuff, Joe Nicely, Joe Idoni. Boom. Everything premium. That's all I'm going to say. You can get it all there for 30% off, $17.50 a month, $40 a month. That's like top-notch pricing right there off the bat. Let's get into it. Unlike the pricing we can provide you here with 30% off at Rotoballer, the pricing at the top of the board for the outright market was a little rough. But it's okay. We're going to deal with it and move on. We're going to dive into our boys that we've played this week for the outrights. We're going to dive into some matchups, and we're going to dive into just about everything else as the show goes on. So right off the top rope, let's get into Minwoo Lee. Let's get into Minwoo Lee. His name's Woozy, the chef. He has got immense length off the tee. He has got the touch of a surgeon around the greens. He's got a putter that listens to him like a good boarding student in all those British movies that you see. It's all good. The iron play, rough. Not okay, but he's going to be hitting out the rough, and he's got immense power, immense ball speed. He's going to be hitting his golf ball so freaking far down the fairways that even though his irons are so bad, and with the rough being so thick this week, he's going to have, anytime he's got a pitching wedge in his hand, everyone else is going to have an 8-iron, 7-iron. Every time he's got a 7-iron in his hand, everybody's going to have a 4-iron, 5-iron hybrid. So he's constantly going to have the edge out of the rough, even though he's going to be in there more than most people. But he's going to be so fucking far down there, it's going to be amazing for him to get out there. So I think Minwoo Lee is going to be a great course fit. He's going to be very popular. We snuck him in at 30. As I was about to bet it, it went from 33 to 30. Brutal stuff. But hey, off we're going to go to Minwoo Lee with the Woozy clan. So I'm all about him this week. I think he's going to be very popular. I think he's going to be a great play. And he's won twice in the last 8 starts that he's played at. I'm glad he never did too good at the Amex because we got a decent number on him. But it since has plummeted to about 22 to 1. So Minwoo Lee, friends, he's our first outright. I know my man Joe Idoni has a Minwoo Lee outright as well. So we're hoping to cash that together as a Rotoballer gang over here. Let's take a quick peek at his stats. I had to change his stuff up a little bit because he didn't really grade out that well for me. Because if you take a look at Minwoo Lee's situation, the approach play is hot, steamy garbage, 144th over the last 24 rounds. So you've got a Minwoo Lee who leads the field in short game and putting. Like, he's exceptional around the greens. He's exceptional with the putter at times, and he's the 6th best driver of the golf ball. He's got the 5th longest distance. He's got all that jazz going. So that's the problem. The good news is, out of approach, you can get away with it like we just mentioned. So he's totally okay. With Spencer on the show, on the PGA Rotoballer show last night, I made a model that's just called a Minwoo Lee model. And I took all the approach play out of the model. And this is what it looked like. We've got Patrick Cantley sitting up top there. So if you take approach play out, Patrick Cantley becomes the clear favorite. We'll hide these play IDs because that means nothing to you guys. He becomes the clear favorite. But then second is Minwoo Lee. He's got no course history, so that hurt him a little bit. But the approach play around the green, the around the green play, sensational. So that's how we're rolling. If that avenue opens itself up to Minwoo Lee, there we are. So he is going to be our first outright of the card of the 5, and we are going to keep on rolling to our next boy, who's basically the same thing. If you take a look at Sahith the Gala, friends, his name's Theegs, and he's the first name of the 2 of the show of episode 83, Back 9 Bets, Keegs and Theegs. I think Sahith the Gala is going to win this tournament. He's my one and done selection for the week. I think I'm going to be playing him a lot in the 8K range. His price is ultra affordable. I love Sahith the Gala in California. I love Sahith the Gala on places that you have to scramble. And people kind of think that his approach play has got, his off the tee game has got a little rough. But I'm going to tell you now, and I'm actually just going to pull it up for you. If you take a quick peek at what Sahith the Gala gets up to, if you pull up the data golf situation, I'm going to zoom into this column and tell me if you see a lot more red or a lot more green in this column that's called strokes gained off the tee. Tell me what you see here. I see a lot of green. I see sketchy sorts of accuracy averages here, there, and there. But for the most part, this guy has been gaining strokes off the tee. He knows where to miss. He knows how to miss. And when it matters, he balls out. So I'm completely fine playing this dude in California. He lost strokes off the tee and still won at the 40 net because the last time he played in California, he won a golf tournament. So shout out to old Sahith the Gala. I think he's going to do wonderful things. I really, really expect him to be contending for the lead immediately when the tournament begins. So that's where we're going to be going with him. I can't wait to see what he gets up to. Where is he in the model? It doesn't really matter because he never really grades out that well. What is the problem with his stuff? The accuracy of the tee, just in general, the off the tee numbers aren't that good for Sahith the Gala. Let's zoom in a touch more over here so you can see a little bit better. But if you take a look at his stats, the harder the golf course gets, he typically plays better, right? Because of the around the green play, because of the putting. But if you take a look at this recent form, everything, including the off the tee game, is inside the top 40. Everything else is inside the top 15. Around the green play, 7th. And if you take the last 6 months of around the green play, Sahith the Gala is the first is the best in the field. So it's a really interesting situation. I don't think the long-term stats are really doing him that much justice. He's really coming into form. And if you take a look at just everything that he's been up to, it's just been delightful. So sign me up for some Sahith the Gala. He's going to be second on our card at 45-1. And he is our best friend. He just dominates off the tee nowadays on approach. He's gained 10 strokes on approach in his 6 rounds of golf at this golf course, people. 6 strokes off on approach at this golf course. 6 strokes, 10 strokes in the last 6 rounds at this golf course. He's played it twice this tournament, and he's absolutely been incredible with the irons. He loves this golf course. We can expect the putter to show up on his power greens, and the driver is probably better than ever for him. So really looking forward to what he can get up to. Next on the board, Keegan, Mad Bradley. We got the old school stare down. We got Keegs right after Theegs. Keegan Bradley, he is going to be the guy that wins this tournament if the other two don't take care of business for us. He's got the casual double revenge narrative going on. Runner up here last year. The last time he teed it up, he was runner up at the Sony. So he's running it up. Like he's double dipping, double deucing, call me crazy, Sally, runner up situation right now. And Keegan Bradley sitting at a mighty fine 35-1 when odds opened up for us. So we really like Keegan Bradley. We really like his course history. He's finished inside the top 5 3 times since 2017. Add another T16 into the mix there for a 4th great finish. He's obviously playing great golf to have competed at the Sony, to have finished 2nd over there. And he loves this golf course. I think he's one of the few guys that has length and accuracy off the tee when he's really vibing. His irons can get hot at any given moment. And I think Keegan's a very emotional golfer. when it comes to playing in places that mean a lot to him, when it comes to winning in events like when he won out in Boston at the Travelers, when he just plays at places that TPC Brookline or Brookline Country Club for the US Open. When he's in Boston, when he's in places that mean a lot to him, he tends to ball out. I feel like he thinks this golf course and this golf tournament is really, really, really sentimental to him. And I think he's going to play with emotion, and I think he's hungry to win it. So we've got the double revenge narrative. We've got great course history. We've got Keegan, the farmer's girlfriend's boyfriend here, and it's looking good. It's looking good for us. We like the number that we got. We like Keegan at this venue. We like what he can do. He says he likes to be in the mix as much as he can. I like Keegan, so should you. Where does Keegan fall in the model? 12th and 14th, so not necessarily the greatest, but if you take a look at the South course history, 4th in the field. If you take a look at the recent ball striking, it's been pretty darn good, apart from off the tee. But you know what? That's okay. He's got some solid accuracy, got some solid distance, like a nice combination typically, and he typically plays very good golf at this venue. Going to get rid of the official world golf rankings because those are almost irrelevant these days, since Justin Thomas finished 4th and still made his way back into the top 30 and now is not playing these events because he luck boxed his way into a freaking situation. Justin Thomas is back, but he's back to being Justin Thomas, where he's just going to keep finishing top 5. I don't think he's got that killer instinct in him to win anymore. So if you take a look at what Keegan's up to, all sorts of stuff. He plays well in most of the rounds, apart from round 2. That's when he typically goes full Keegan. You know, goes from playing really well in round 1 to not the best in round 2, but then he bounces back in round 3, all that jazz. So Keegan's doing his good things, putting solid from 5 to 15 feet. Imagine 2 years ago you're saying Keegan Bradley's top 30 in the field from 5 to 15 feet and first in the field from 5 feet. Number 1 in the field from 5 feet. From 150 to 200 yards, he's top 30 in the field in strokes gained. That's very important here. And from 150 and out of the rough, he's 45th in strokes gained. So, like, not the best baseline stuff, but we can see his numbers are starting to trend really nicely over the last 24 rounds for Keego. So we're going to go to Keegs. He's our guy. If he can't do it, the next guy can. So let's find him on the Twitter feed here. And guess who it is? It's the Sepp Monster, Mr. Exceptional, Diet Coke Iron Man himself, doing his thing. I think he's a sneaky play. And I'll tell you why. I was looking at his round-by-round stuff. Sepp Straka, he's got himself a T16, a T13, a T32, and a miscut at this golf course. People, every single freaking time this guy has played on this course, 4 times, he's lost over 2.5 strokes on approach once per tournament and had still finishes of 16th and 13th. Every time he plays here, he has a round where his irons go on a sabbatical. They leave the country. They go into the Pacific. They go into hibernation. They go anywhere but positive strokes gained. And I think the way he's playing right now, gosh darn it, I hope that doesn't happen again, because he loves this golf course. He drives it exceptionally around here. He does wonderful stuff on the greens, and his short game hasn't seemed to be that impacted by this kind of a golf course. He kind of manages his around the green play a little bit better on these kind of golf courses. So when you take a look at Sepp, everything is delightful. Now, if he can just avoid hemorrhaging 1 round on approach, I think he's going to be right in the mix. And we can take a peek at his model quickly, because he's been doing some nice stuff on approach as well. Over the last 24 rounds, he's 8th in the field. He's 11th in the field in ball striking over the last 24 rounds, and he's 17th in putting. So we can call it quits on the around the green stuff there. It's totally okay. I think I want to actually pull up this graphic for you guys real quick, because I think it makes a big. I want to show you. I want to show you what is going on, and it's insane. Let's take a look here. This is old. Woo, we are zoomed in as heck here. Let's get this all out of the way. Let's get this all out of the way. All right, Sip, where are you, baby? There we go. Take a look at this stuff. I'll get myself out of the picture here real quick so you can see a good picture here. Look at this. Look at this approach play. Yeah, when he finished T13 in the final round, 2.5 strokes he lost. When he played his first round back in 2020, 2.87 strokes on approach, lost. Then in 2021, lost 4 strokes on approach. Then in 2022, in round 1, he lost 3 strokes on approach. So look at these numbers. Look at the putting. It's sensational. Like, he's solid around there. Look at the around the green play at this golf course. He's really bad around the greens. He's totally comfortable on this golf course. Look at the off the tee stuff. He's lost barely ever. Since 2021, he's barely lost off the tee here. So there's so much to like. Look at these strokes gain numbers. Sensational. But there's just this one round per a tournament where he just completely goes off the rails on approach. So we got to figure that out, Sep, and get our shit together on approach, brother. Okay? Just follow me with that one. I think it's going to be okay. If you can rock those back-to-back solid rounds, we're going to be in business. So Sep Straka, 70-1, he opened up. Jump in the Discord at Rotoballer because we popped those numbers in there ASAP. And it has plummeted to like 40-1 now. So that was delightful to see. Next up on the stacking, the cock monster. The guy who won the Sanderson Farms with his chicken/cock thingy that he won the trophy there. That's how it goes. Played a nice little pun on words there with the farmersonly.com profile. That was quite fun. I've really had fun doing this stuff with the Farmers Only. I'm not going to lie to you. It's one of my favorite tournaments to do Photoshops and release outrights in the morning because these write-ups are my favorite thing in the world. So go check them out at the Model Maniac and have yourself a giggle. Luke List, though. Luke freaking List. The only time we really started playing him was at the Sony. Hemorrhage strokes on the greens for the first time in a long time. He's been sensational around and on the greens for the last little while. Pretty much since the fall swing began, Luke List has got his thing figured out. So I'll tell you a little secret about Luke List. We spoke about this on the PGA Rotoballer show. Luke List is third all-time in strokes gained off the tee around Torrey Pines Golf Course. He gains just shy of 1 stroke per round off the tee in, I think, 19 rounds. Since 2018, Luke List has not finished worse than 40th. Not worse than 40th. This is Luke List, the guy who can't get a putt in from 3 feet on about 5% of the time, probably. This is Luke List that now has won this tournament, and if you're trying to write a farm narrative, he's won the Farmers and he's won the Sanderson Farms. So the last 3 events of this situation, he's won 2 of them. He's looking to get the 3rd Farmers in 4 goes, and then he's the ultimate farmer of the PGA Tour because the Sandersons, he'll have 1, and the Farmers Insurance, he'll have 2 in the last 3 years. So sign up Luke List at 70-1. We got him at 90-1. Luke List, a PGA Tour winner, guy who's putting. I'm going to pull up his stats because you don't believe me. Luke List is doing some marvelous, and I say marvelous stuff with the putter. Look at these finishes in the fall. 25th, win. T18, T45, whatever. T20, T19, T22. All at random-ass courses. Look at the putting. Since the Genesis Scottish Open, gain strokes, lost a little bit, played quite nicely in those 2. You can imagine he gained strokes when he finished 20th. T19, didn't lose strokes, barely gained. T22 at the Century, he gained. Then at the Sony, he lost like he usually does. So you're going to get a little bit of that with him, but we're going to go to a course now where if you take a look at his putting, it comes and goes. However he's feeling, he goes. But he's 3 out of the last 4 times, it's been not that bad at the Farmers Insurance Open. So I'm looking forward to Luke List, but take a look at this column here, friends. Look at this stuff. It's green bars like you're sitting underneath the AT&T cell tower. It's getting that much signal. Those bars are through the roof. Distance and accuracy. This guy possesses an elite trait. And he's one of the best around Torrey Pines Golf Course with the driver. Great stuff. Great stuff from Luke List so far. So really looking forward to getting him in the mix. We'll take a quick peek at what he can get up to with the rest of his game. Over here, he's way down in the model because I had to adjust his stuff a little bit because he doesn't play that well usually everywhere else. But if you take a look at what he's really getting up to, the recent form has been pretty solid. The putting let him down a little bit. Since the Sony Open, he had 4 bad rounds there. It's okay. We'll let that slide. Bounce back time. But if you take a quick peek over here, 22nd in distance. So we're going to see what he gets up to. I really like what Luke List can do at this golf course. And if you take a look at his weighted proximities, he hits green in regulations like a freak. 4th in the field in weighted green in regulations. That's prorating all the different proximity buckets, making the ones that are seen more often more important in a calculation and putting them into a weighted situation. So his green in regulation rates are phenomenal. His proximity numbers are great, and his strokes gained are great at this venue. He's particularly solid from 200 and out. That's where he does the majority of his damage, and he's very good out of the rough from 150. He's 13th in the field. So he's solid with the long iron in his hand. Obviously, the putting has been very bad for the last little while, but that's last year's stats. We've seen recent form coming to fruition. So we really like Luke List. We like what he can do with pretty much everything, and the course history itself just speaks volumes. And that concludes the outright section of the show. And we'll just start wrapping round back with Luke List as our first placement bet of the day. As I mentioned earlier, Luke List is, since 2018, top 40s in every single one of his starts at this venue. So why the heck would we not bet him to finish top 40 when BetMGM is giving us plus 100 to do so? Bet365 giving you the same number. I think DraftKings offers actually minus 110, and they don't even pay tires in full. So Luke List, in our Breaking 100 article, we dropped a casual $20. So he's 1/5 of our salary and our budget going to Luke List for a plus 100 for a top 40. He's done it since 2018. We've seen the course history at this venue. It is phenomenal. He's got the 9th best scoring average here on the South course. So it's just going to be fun to watch him do it, especially if that putter shows back up. He can single-handedly recover all of our outright losses if we don't hit one this week just with a top 40 bet. And I really, really like his chances to do so. It's going to be a fun time watching Luke List. Let's hope he can take care of business for us. So that just makes tons and tons of sense to me. And if you take a look at what Luke List's current situation is, where the heck are the rest of my things? We've got a whole bunch of nonsense missing here. All right. We're gonna scoot through to the things here real quick, and I want to show you his top 40 rates. He does it 52% of the time as well, historically. So Luke List, even with the bad putter, since 27 starts since 2023 began, he's finishing inside the top 40 half the time. He's done it 100% of the time at this venue. So there's a nice combination of recent form or like historical form and course history to really go for on that bet. So top 40, Luke List, plus 100, boom, chakalaka. Let's ride it into town, baby. Next up on the board is Taylor Moore. And he's a very peculiar cat. I think he graded out really, really well for us. And the thing with Taylor Moore is there's tons of upside, but the recent driving issues are a bit of a concern. But seems like he figured it out since the breakthrough. Tough to end the season. Like the BMW Championship, he shot an 80. So we got some recent stuff in there that's really not going to show how well he's played. But I think in the last little while, he's finished top 40 in the last 4 of his last 6 starts, does Taylor Moore. And if you take a look at his baseline stuff, he's a 62% cat in the top 40 market. So 62% of the time, he is top 40, and we're getting plus 130 for a top 40 at Bet365 for Taylor Moore. The recent form is that it's got that atrocious 80. Like he had 4 terrible, terrible rounds at the BMW Championship. So I'm going to pull up Taylor Moore's stuff real quick just to show you what you got to make sure you parse through this kind of stuff when you are going through it. Darbo, we're speaking about Taylor Moore. Welcome to the chat, my brother. I'm happy to have you here. Take a look at Taylor Moore. He lost 16 strokes. That's 3.97 per round. So that's 16 total strokes over the course of the BMW Championship. Not ideal. Every other one of his rounds since pretty much the Wyndham has been great. So we've got 4 out of the last 6 that have been top 25s. The Tour Championship is T29. That is basically dead last. Tie 29th means that someone else finished last with him. So he had a bit of a rough Tour Championship, but he seems to have bounced back in the recent coming. So especially the Century looking pretty good. Looking at the sweet spot, things are looking mighty fine, my man. I'll be tuning in shortly after this, so don't you worry. It's going to be fun to see what he can get up to. Taylor Moore, what we really like about his game, and what the model liked about his game, is the fact from a baseline standpoint, his iron play is really stellar from 150 to 200 yards. So from 150 to 200, he hits the 19th most good shots. So he gains over half a stroke per shot, the 19th most out of this field. The good shot, like the strokes gained, is 127th. Not necessarily the best there, but, we are dealing with a lot of bad golf. We've got 8 very bad rounds of golf recently. So bear that in mind. The last 2 have been much better. We got to have to deal with that kind of situation, but at least it shows that the baseline for his year-to-date for the last year seems solid. And he's decent out the rough, all that jazz, blah, blah, blah. So Taylor Moore, and he can putt well. He can putt really, really well. So he's solid putting from 5 to 15 feet. He's solid from 3-putt avoidance, all that jazz, and his bogey avoidance rate. Typically, we are looking at Bo Harsler. Still, actually, Taylor Moore's even better. So I'm talking absolute shit. I've done this twice now, where I'm talking about the wrong stats. We love Taylor Moore because why? He's the 19th best in strokes gained, in good shots. Am I running around in circles? It's been a long week, people. I feel like I'm at the farmer's market haggling over a slice of salami right now. I don't know what's going on. I don't know who I just spoke about, but I just want to repeat it just so I make sure that I said the right thing here. Taylor Moore, strokes gained from 200 out, is the 10th best in the field. It's very solid. 44th in good shots from 200 and out. It's looking good. So we'll see what Taylor Moore can get up to this week. Solid. He's even better than Bo from 5 to 15 feet, which is good. The scoring stats, that's what kind of made me realize that we were talking about the wrong guy because they should be pretty bad after those last few rounds. But Taylor Moore can get it going if he wants to. So we'll look to see what he can get up to. He is our second placement bet of the card. And then we've got a little top 20 for us here. And he goes by the name of Joseph Bramlett. And I'm looking forward to watching this bet unfold. He grades out really, really well. And if you take a look at what his numbers portray to you, me and Spencer spoke about Joseph on the PGA Rotoballer show yesterday, and we came up with this bet on the show. It's plus 750 over at BetMGM for a top 20. He, people, finishes inside the top 20 25% of the time. So that's some solid value right there. And if you take a peek at what he gets up to at the Farmers Insurance, he finished inside the top 20 2 out of the last 4 times he's played there. He's also one of those guys. He's one of those off the tee Joseph Brosefs. He's a bro off the tee with Luke List, with John Rahm, with Will Gordon, with Cam Champ, all those big dogs that punish it off the tee. Joseph Bramlett is there with them. He does his thing on those kind of courses because he's got massive distance and he absolutely just pounds greens in regulation. So we'll see what he can get up to. And if you take a look at what he gets up to out of the rough, 4th best out of long proximity situations with the rough there. So just anytime he's out of the rough, he does good stuff. So Even if his accuracy is 156th in the field, doesn't matter. He's very good out of the rough. I know it's going to be long this week, but he has played really good golf at this venue. And we love the plus 750 for a top 20 on Joseph Broseph Bramlett. It's going to be a fun time watching him do his thing. He's does his thing early in the year, in the rounds. He kind of gets off to a hot start and then kind of doesn't figure out in the middle there and then gets off to a better start at the end. Finishes up tidy compared to the rest of his stuff. Par 5 scoring seems like his best scoring metric. We'll see what he can get up to, but we love the ball striking. We love the greening regulations. We love what he can do with the driver. Look at this comp course here, 26th and 12th. Course history, 26th. I mean, that's pretty solid for a top 40 bet, so we like that a lot. We like the fact that we were looking at the top 40 bet for him, which is plus 250, but he only finishes top 40 30% of the time. So that's not going to work, but he finishes top 20 25% of the time. So when he plays well, he plays really well. So he's like a boom or bust kind of candidate. So that's the perfect kind of bet for him at that value. Maybe we might even sprinkle a little bit on. He has never really finished much inside the top 10. Only 4% of the time he does top 10. So top 20s is where his comfort zone is. We'll see what he can get up to. We will see what he can get up to. Plus 750 at BetMGM, friends. They pay tithes in full. Go check that out. Looking forward to that. Scooting on. Let's find ourselves a Sahith Theegala bet. He's going to be our guy at the top 20 ratio. He's going to be doing it for us, and he's going to be doing it hard. Because Sahith Theegala, like we mentioned, he's plus 160 at BetMGM for a top 20 is Sahith. He is 2 for 2 on top 25 finishes at Torrey Pines at the Farmers Insurance. The last time he finished T4. He's one of the shorter odds on the board. And at some point, he was rattling off top 20s like nobody's business. So we get plus 160 for Sahith to do his thing. I'm totally cool with that. I actually love that number. And I actually just want to make sure that I want to do the math here real quick because I'm kind of interested in figuring out what that percentage is for Sahith Theegala. Let's get rid of all of this stuff out of the way. Let's get rid of all of this stuff out of the way. Get some implied odds in the building. So Sahith Theegala, we put his top 20 number in here. And this is a bit of a maniac override because we kind of want to bet these guys the way we want. And I only bet top 20s on the guys that rate out in the model inside the top 15. But like we said, this is a bit of a maniac override. That's how it goes over here on Back Nine Bets. I am the Model Maniac. I am this model's dad. I can tell it what to do. So that's how it goes over here. The implied odds at plus 160 is 38%. On the season, he's 41%. So just technically speaking, over the course of the season, we get a 3% edge on that bet. And then we go to a course where he's got the 10th best course history, and that isn't even because he's got enough rounds. He's only got 6 rounds of South course history. I think my model dials it down a little bit when we get to 8. Once you get past 8, it doesn't take fractions off. It leaves the numbers as they are, but he's only got 6, so it's going to make that number of strokes gained a little bit smaller. So he's really, really impressive. Like we said, the T24 and the 4th place, or the T23 and the 4th place, looks good. So T25, sorry, whatever. Solid stuff regardless. And I think he loves to play golf in California. 160 on BetMGM. And then our final bet of the evening, full placement market, is going to be Adam Svensson. And Adam Svensson is grading out really, really well in the model. So much so that when I mention his name, the model freezes up. But his upside ranking sits here in a casual 7th spot. The model suggested we bet him for a top 20 at plus 250. I told the model, like I said to you, I tell the model what's up. If it tells me what to do and I don't like it, I'm going to tell it what's going on. So we decided to go to a plus 105 top 40 instead, because this is my reasoning. If you take a quick peek, let's type in the odds here. So the Vegas odds would have been plus 250 for a top 20. All right. And that is an implied odds of 29%. He finishes inside the top 20, 24% of the time. So it is what it is. It's here, it's there, it's everywhere. Whatever. The model really likes him this week, but at top 20, I have a gut feeling about Adam Svensson, so I'm going to change it up to go to the top 40 at plus 105 and just hang around there a little bit more. I just feel better about it. He does a top 40 52% of the time. He's never really played this course that well, but he's playing golf at an incredible level right now. Ball striking has just been scintillating. He's 8th in the field over the last 24 rounds ball striking. It's approach play. It's the driver. It's everything. And if you take a look at what old Svenny does on these kind of courses, medium courses for him, 20th in the field, strokes gained on those courses. So that kind of suits this venue a little bit better. The guys are saying that the rough is really, really thick, but the golf course is also going to be particularly very, very wet. So I'm expecting the courses to play a little easier than normal, especially with the soft course. Out of the rough, it might be harder, but once they're coming in from the fairway to soft greens, we should see some darts. Svenny is just pretty solid anywhere outside of 150. If you take a look at his wedges, the strokes gained, the good shot rates, all sitting in the hundreds. Not good, Bob, but at 150 to 150 to 200, we see some good numbers there. 25th, 31st, 33rd. From 200 and out. If we take a look at the rough situation, he's actually better out the rough from inside 150 than he is from, when he's playing out the fairway, relatively. It's not like he hits better shots. He just hits better shots than everyone else from the rough. From 150 and out in the rough, 25th in the field. And the greening regulation rates from 150 and out are 12th in the field. So that's kind of what we're looking at this week. Can you hit the greens from the rough? We shall see. He tends to do that better than most people in the field. So that's good to see from him. He's putting inside of 5 feet is pretty shit, but he's pretty darn good from 5 to 15 feet. And I think the way this course plays itself out, you're going to have a lot of those sketchy 5 to 15 footers for par, not a lot of them for birdie. And that's what's going to be Svenny's saving grace. And that's what I think is popping him up pretty hard in the model. So if we put in 5 feet, we might have a bit of a problem, but we're going to just pretend like he's never going to have inside a 5-footer ever again. But also, it is what it is. So goes it. The scoring stats for me have just been a mess because Old Fantasy National was down this week, and I don't have any POA stats in here. It's all just putting in general because, of course, the week that we only have 2 days before the tournament, that site's down. So it is what it is. I haven't had a chance to pop those in my numbers, but he's also a pretty good par 5 scorer. Don't expect him to perform too hard over the weekend, and that's kind of why the top 40 seemed a bit more sensical to me, with old Svenny sitting at 89 and 94th in strokes gained in round 3 and round 4. That's no good either, but he's pretty darn good when it comes to round 1 and round 2. In general, you never know what he can get up to. He's playing some good golf right now. Love what Adam Svensson's getting up to, and then we're just going to double down. We're going to double down, and it's going to be against one of my ex-boyfriends, Emiliano Grillo. We're going to take Adam Svensson and bet him against Emiliano. And that hurt me to see that the model kicked it out, but it is what it is, and we're going to take that bet. So Grillo hasn't been playing the best recently. The last 24 rounds, old G has been sitting at 76th. The approach play's kind of gone south. Ball striking has gone south. The driver's been fine, but the approach play not so good. The around the green play, I mean, we go into a course that you're going to have to hit a lot of greens to avoid playing those around the green shots. I mean, if you take a look at greening regulation rates here, they're about 4% less than tour average. So we'll see what old Grillo can get up to, but I'm not necessarily that optimistic about his ability to bounce back immediately. We'll see what happens. But as always, anything can happen in golf. But old Grillo not necessarily giving us the best chance to play well here, especially based off of what he's been doing recently. He does play very good from 150 to 200. I understand that, but we're kind of just banking on his upside, not really being there with the fact that his form is kind of off the charts right now. So we like what's going on with Svensson. We're going to double down on that. The model likes him. We'll see what can happen there. And that's pretty much that business. And then we've got one final bet here. I'm going to see if I can pull this sucker up for us again. And this is my Roto Baller Breaking 100 article. And we're going to pull up our little farewell fiver. Why does it always do that? There we go. I'm going to get myself out of the screen here. And we're going to speak about this thing. Because this bad boy is 20 to 1. You bet yourself $5, you can win $100.10. So we can break 100 right off the bat if this bad boy cashes in round one. And we'll break it down because these are some guys I actually really like this week anyway. And the first 3-ball in round one, I believe Peter Malnati is playing on the South course. And Peter Malnati will be going against Josh Teeter, the Teeter-Totter, and Adrian Maronk, who will be flying from Saudi Arabia, Dubai, all the way to the west coast of California to tee up on a Wednesday on a golf course that's been soaked. And I see some Wi-Fi is going skew. Hopefully we bounce back there shortly. We'll see what happens. But Peter Malnati's course history on the South course, right over here, you can see it's the 28th best in the field. So he's very, very good on that South course. I think the last 3 times he's played, he's finished like 25th in the field. So it's been incredible. And if you take a look at Maronk, he hasn't necessarily played the best golf on the South course. Now, had this gone to the North course, I think Maronk stands a bit of a better chance. We're also banking on him just being out of sync a little bit early on in the tournament because I just don't feel like he's going to be there for us. So Adrian's going to get a lot of vibes, but we're getting some really good value at plus 250 there for Peter Malnati. If Josh Teeter beats Peter Malnati, we'll have to come up with the situation because I'm not going to be okay with it. It's basically plus 250 for Peter to beat Maronk. And I have a good feeling. I've seen a lot of guys betting Peter Malnati for first round leader out on that South course. He's played really good in the first few rounds where he's been out there. So he loves a good West Coast swing. And Peter Malnati will take down Adrian Maronk in the first leg of our farewell fiver. Then Ludwig Aubert versus Justin Rose and Hideki Matsuyama at plus 120. Now, the thing is, it's just been 8 rounds of golf. The 9th round, if you go back in Ludwig's history, was when he won the RSM Classic, shattering course records. I think he broke the scoring record at the RSM. That was 9 rounds ago. He's played 8 rounds since that, and they've been on Hawaii. I don't think he's a fan of Hawaii. I don't think he's particularly fond of that island. I think on the west coast of America, back on American soil, he'll be back to business. They'll be playing the North course. So that, to me, screams that I'm not too worried about Hideki because Hideki is not a birdie machine. He is going to be a great option, especially after round 1. I like a good pounce on Hideki to kind of get like a top 40 bet out there or a top 20 bet on Hideki after he particularly gets off to a slow start in round 1. See, there's 56th typically. I'm hoping he can start off slow and then just dominate and climb the leaderboard on a difficult golf course that I think him and the likes of Shane Lowry, we will talk about next, will tend to play better on. I like their ability to score relative to the field much more proficiently on a more difficult golf course. They're really good ball strikers. They tend to make par putts more than they do birdie putts. They're bogey avoidance boys. That's how they roll. So we'll see what happens, but I'm a big fan of fading Hideki in round 1. Love him in showdown as the week goes on. He made the cut on the number and then finished 30th at the Sony. So, that's what he does. Now, Justin Rose is the bit of the wild card here. This is basically we kind of eliminating Hideki from the situation. Rosie being the guy we're taking on at plus 120. I love Aberg on the easier course to start off with. I think he fits both courses well, but we've seen him dominate those easy courses. Torrey North, to me, screams like he'll play well there. Justin Rose typically doesn't get off to a very good start. He's 75th in round one scoring averages. He's weird. He's old. He likes to shoot himself in the foot and then hobble his way into the top 40 pretty much every tournament. So that's just how he does his thing. But now he does play very good golf at this venue. So that is a bit of a concern, but I'm banking on a bad round one from Justin Rose in that department. So that is the logic behind the second leg of our farewell fiver. And then the third leg is Sepp Straka versus Harris English and Shane Lowry. Harris English is not particularly very good when it comes to approach play, so he relies significantly on his putter to get the damage done. We're kind of hoping that the putter shows up only in round 2 or round 3. I believe Sepp can absolutely ball out. We mentioned that he struggled in one particular round here and there with the approach play. Hopefully it's not this one. Hopefully he can get off to a good start. I feel like Sepp can get hot at any given moment. I feel like he can do his thing. So we'll see what he can get up to. He's playing good golf, driving it well, hitting his irons incredibly well, and putting lights out right now. So he's easily in the best form of the three guys playing in that threesome. And I will be going to Sepp to take care of business in the final 3-ball of our farewell fiver. The Lowry situation as well. The round one scoring seems a little off to me. It doesn't make that much sense. He typically gets off to a slow start and kind of climbs his way up the leaderboard. But I guess he played pretty well last week at the Birdie Fest, the Amex. I guess the guy was luck boxing a million putts. I think it was like 5 under par through 7 holes or 10 holes and couldn't make the cut. Like he just kind of, he holed out for an eagle on the final hole and still couldn't make the cut. So we'll see. I like Shane. I like Hideki at this venue. I'm not a fan of them anywhere else outside of hard or difficult conditions. So that's kind of how we're going to turn $5 into 100 in round one. Hopefully take care of business real quick. Usually this requires four 3-ball combinations to get to anywhere between 17 and 20 to 1. The Peter Malnati 250 is, I like it. I like it a lot. And we might have to tinker with some sort of a top 5 of some degree to figure out where we're going with old Skinny Pete, the West Coast Wizard. All right. So that's the majority of our situation, yeah? Let's get rid of these NAs. We're not a fan of the NAs, you're on back 9 bets. And take a look at the quick DFS world. Didn't obviously get to the show with old Ron. I hope you get better, my friend. I know you got sick there. But if you are not checking out Ron's rabbit hole over at BetSperts Golf, go check that out too. But that's after you sign up for Rotoballer using the 30% discount using code NEW. Please do that for me. It helps me so much. You know, we're really trying to grow Rotoballer and we are trying to make it a good product for y'all. And we are working our tails off to get there. The top of the board, in my opinion, has got 1 killer and 3 zombies. And the killer is Max Homer, and the 3 zombies are Colin Morikawa, Patrick Cantley, and Xander Schauffele. Xander particularly being the guy with the break assist in his game. Anytime he gets to the top of the leaderboard, that break assist just locks the hell up, and he tumbles down the leaderboard all the way to a point where he feels comfortable, and then he does the Vin Diesel thing. He looks at his boy Paul, says, "It's time for the fastest quarter mile of your life." And he hits that NOS button and flies up the leaderboard and finishes 3rd at the Amex, almost winning it when he never even had a single chance of ever contending for that tournament. That is the Xander Schauffele show. The Patrick Cantley show is something along those lines, but a way lot more vanilla. Less meltdowns, less upside, just constantly plodding his way to mediocrity relative to his skill set. But he's looking like a guy I might land up playing, old Patrick Cantley, in the 10K range. Because if you take a look at what he gets up to, he dominates the comp courses. Courses similar to the ones we can expect, kind of like Bay Hill, kind of like Murfield Village, you know, where they've got thick-ass rough on the side of the fairways. Those are the kind of courses that I popped in as comps. We could take a quick peek at the Pensieve, you Harry Potter fans. Let me put my face back in the screen here too, so it's bigger. So we've got Torrey Pines as the golf course up top. Yeah, we've got player IDs, everybody. We got NAs all the way down the side. I think Eric Barnes is even in the field. I don't even know. Doesn't matter. we're not worried about him right now. So old Patrick Cantley, if we type a look at this and we do the largest to the smallest, it's going to give us guys that haven't played on these kind of courses before, but he should show up here shortly. We've got Justin Rose. Where's Patrick Cantley, friends? Interesting situation going on here. I feel this is just Torrey Pines. We need to look at the actual comps. Okay. Whatever. We kind of figuring it out. Where the hell is he on this list? Patrick Cantley all the way down here. So what about his comp courses? Has he the North course? We've got like missing stats for him over here. But at Muirfield Village, he's played fantastically. That's what's doing the majority of the damage. We've got Bay Hill Club and Lodge where he's played nicely, and we've got Quail Hollow where he's also played kind of nicely. I don't know why I took a massive tangent over there, but it is what it is. I'm kind of leaning towards Cantley. He hasn't been playing the best out of the bunch, but I feel like I don't know what to make of the guy. May not have to play a lot of him to get double the field, though. He's solid across the board, pretty much in every department. He's not very good with the wedge out of the rough, apparently. But he's pretty darn good the further away you get. Like, the longer the irons are, that's where he kind of thrives. He doesn't hit a lot of good shots with the wedges. So we won't see too many of those this week. We'll see a lot more long irons. That's his jam. Out the rough with a wedge, 128th. That's not very good. But if you take a look at what Cantley does, and I think can be the separating factor in a situation like this, he's one of the few guys that if you take a look at their distance and their accuracy, he has elite accuracy for as far as he hits it. Like, he actually hits it really far, and he's got the 9th best accuracy in the field. So if we think about the rough being that thick this week, if you can punish it down there and still not sacrifice too much accuracy, Patrick Cantley could have a lot more shots from the fairway than the rest of the gang, kind of like Colin Morikawa. But I mean, look at Colin; he's 120th in distance off the, with the field, yeah, but third in accuracy. Where Cantley's 38, so the off the tee stuff for Cantley in general is second in the field. So there's a lot like that. To me, is really appealing. I understand Colin has gained a ton of strokes at this golf course too. So these are my two guys I'll be playing in the top here. It's going to be Colin and Cantley. The reason I'm fading Max is it's going to be a scary fade. His ownership's not looking very, very. I mean, the ownership is also a mess right now. We don't know what the hell's going on with the ownership. And I know Max is. Excuse me. I know Max is a killer. I know he loves West Coast golf. But I don't know if this is the course that really suits his game, the way he's currently playing right now. The putting and the short game is typically his backbone. Hasn't been there. I think last time he won this tournament, he gained 2.8 strokes per round on approach, which I said to Spencer is the total of his 10th and 11th best approach play in his career in 112 events. Won't even match that combined. His 10th and 11th best strokes gained approach doesn't even match what he gained in one tournament when he won here last year. Now, I understand he can putt lights out. He putted well at Kapalua in 2023, didn't putt well this year. I don't know what his putting situation is going on right now. He putted badly in Bermuda. So if you're going to fade someone, it's going to be Max for me. And I think he's going to come in mega owned because optimizers love a cheaper guy too. And I think Max is going to be the guy. I like Colin this week. He's got the best course history and he's got the best form entering the week. We'll see what happens. See what cooks. So it's going to be fun. We'll see what cooks in the 10K range there, but I'm not going to be playing too many guys in the 10K. I'm going to be really, really loading up in the 9s. My strategy has been this week is going to be to try and get as many solid golfers in my lineups as possible. We're going to be probably relying on, I know Darby, I'm kind of curious as what his situation is, but probably going to do a 7K and a 6K or potentially 2 6K guys in my lineups to try and get 4 guys above 8K in there. So I want to start with Ludwig. I love his outlook on this golf course. I want Jason Day in there. He plays fantastic on this golf course. I want Minwoo Lee. I want Keegan Bradley. I want Sahith Theegala. I want Sepp Straka. I want a little bit of Justin Rose as well. And maybe a little bit of Nikolai Hoygaard. Guys that can just send it. Guys that I've seen have played great golf. I'm a big fan of these guys in this range. I can see a lot of them being at the top of the leaderboard. And if you can put as many of these guys in your lineups as possible, you're going to have as many of them there, and then just have to hope for the guys that you kind of sold your soul for at the bottom to take care of business. So like Justin Rose, great course history, but he always lets me down. He always gets it like backwards. And yeah, Brian, old Ludwig round 4 is a Saturday. Oh, God damn. I did not realize that. Do you think it's just a round 3 thing, or you think it's a Saturday thing? This will be the test, my man. This is going to be, whoo, you just blew my mind. So for those of you that don't know what Brian is talking about, let's meander over here to old Ludwig's profile and take a look at his round by round scoring. Oh, we lost it. Let's go back again quickly. And old Ludwig, round by round. Round 1 scoring average, 2nd. Round 2 scoring average, 3rd. Round 4 scoring average, 8th. Round 3 scoring average, 117th. So we'll have to see. We will have to see what he gets up to. Is it a Saturday thing? Is it a round 3 thing? Is Ludwig going to be able to handle business on Saturday? Or is he not going to be able to play good golf on Friday, which will be round 3? Brian, that to me is the headline of the show. We will now know if he's allergic to Saturdays or if he's allergic to round 3s. And it will be very, very interesting to see what happens. If he makes it to the weekend. Hopefully he does. So I appreciate that. What a great comment. What a great comment. Thank you. So yes, I'm a big fan of him. I don't see him coming in at 18%. I really don't see that, because I think this recent form that people are kind of, the Hawaii swing might have people feeling sour to him. There's so much course history around him. If you take a look at, he's sandwiched by a double-decker course history sandwich there. Got Max Homa, Sungjae Im, and underneath him, you got Jason Day and Tony Finau. Course history for those guys, 6, 7, 3, and 8. All top 8 candidates. So Ludwig with the white box there has not played at this venue before. So we'll see what happens. Interesting situation for old Luddies. So we'll see what he can get up to. Tony Finau, 129th in putting. That's good. If you are Luke List or Kyle Stanley, it's not good for Tony Finau. But approach play over the last 24 rounds, 9th in the field. I'm going to be fading Tony in this range. I know the course history is there, and I think course history is going to drive ownership more than people think this week. I'm out on Tony. Jason Day, I'm in on. I don't like it. But no matter what, I mean, the thing about Jason Day is that he's historically been phenomenal. I don't think I have that. Where the heck is it? Let me pull it up quickly. I want to pull up a quick thing that I pulled up here a little bit ago. It has these boys, the all-time strokes gained off the tee guys. Here we go. All-time strokes gainers off the tee. If you take a quick peek at this situation, here's Cameron Champ gaining 1.39, but he barely gains any strokes ever on this golf course. John Rahm, obviously elite. Then he has Luke List. Keith Mitchell, one of the biggest polar opposite situations you'll ever find. Gaining 1.83 on average off the tee, losing 1.5 strokes in the other departments of his game. So fun times over there. Colin Morikawa, being dominant. That's why I really like him here this week. Again, I mean, just getting off the tee in a good way seems like it's going to be the way to go. And then Jason Day, right up there. Would you ever think that would be the case? But since 2017, Jay Day in 17 rounds is gaining 0.8 strokes off the tee here. So really like to see what he can get up to. Xander, kind of next in the bunch here. behind Will Gordon. Interesting situation. I think Will Gordon's a solid play this week, especially off the tee. Jonathan Vegas and Joseph Bramlett. Fancy that there, huh? So we like the guys that can get themselves off the tee. We like the guys that can not be called Taylor Montgomery, but we like Nick Hardy. I don't know what's going on with the Weedies, but we're kind of in the mood for those guys. So that's where we're going in that department, and I really like Jason Day for that reason. Just getting a good start can really help you progress through the hole from there on out. I really feel like the driving is comfortable for him on this golf course. There's no Tony. I guess Tony Finau is on that list as well. But we know Tony Finau can putt himself out of this tournament immediately. He did it last year to me when I had an outright on him. So I don't expect Tony Finau to gain strokes on the greens this week, and I'm going to take a gamble on fading him there. Loveman Woolley, going to play him. We're going to get different elsewhere. The chalk has kind of conglomerated at the top of this board. If you take a look at what he's got up to in the last little while, let me pull up another stat for you guys here. We've got some interesting stuff to talk about. I think I put it in the Discord, actually. I think the last 7 of the last 8 guys priced south of 25 to 1. 6 of them, 6 of 7 or 7 of 8 finished 25th or better. Will Zalatoris was the only person to miss the cut. He is obviously injured. So the chalk at the top there, it's all about figuring out which one's going to blow up and just hoping for the best. So to me, that's going to be hoping Xander Schauffele just finishes outside the top 10, hoping Patrick Cantlay just finishes outside the top 10, hoping Colin Morikawa finishes inside the top 10. We also get some salary savings. Then Tony Finau, in my opinion, has got that blow-up potential on the greens. Eric Cole's going to come in very low owned because the driving ability is bad, but I think he can scramble his face off. Like, he's a really good putter and chipper. I think he's going to be just fine if he kind of goes. Mrs. Maniac just showed up, so have fun with the dogs barking, but I like what Eric Cole can do, especially at low ownership. Then we like Keegan Bradley, big time. Really, really like him. What did we write about Harris English over here? Great driving, but irons in around the green not going to be good enough to hang around here. If putter doesn't go nuclear in one of the first 2 rounds, he could miss the cut. That's why we don't like Harris English. Cool. I'm out on Harris, and I know he's not going to be that low. He's going to be low owned in this range, but Sahith, to me, love his play here. Love, love, love. I think Hideki's going to catch a lot more steam than people are realizing. People think he's a sneaky play. People, every podcast I've listened to has had Hideki Matsuyama being brought up. Now, I understand that. I get it. But he has not had a top 10 since the Players' Championship, which is coming up here soon for round 2004. Doesn't do well on easy. Does very well in the majors when it gets very hard. Does okay on the medium courses. So that's the situation. But the putting has been a bad part of his game. We'll see what he can do. Obviously, we'll be playing Sepp Straka. Justin Rose, I don't know what to do with. Kind of don't mind him, kind of do whatever. Will Zalatoris is going to be interesting. I really like what we saw from him last week. That was good to see that he strung some rounds together, made the cut at a birdie fest. That's good. I feel like this golf course can really suit his game a lot better. Obviously, he's had great success here. He's $8,000. If he's feeling fine, this golf course suits his game. Sony Open does not. The Amex does not. I know he's played well there before, but it'll be interesting to see what he can do. Keith Mitchell, you can have your 8% Keith Mitchell. We've seen what happens once he gets off the tee. So out on Keith Mitchell, I think Shane Lowry is an interesting play. If he's going to be cheaper than Hideki, I'll play him as the lumpy lard, who I think plays better on these medium courses. Missed the cut in an easy golf course last week, but he's 13th in medium scoring and 20th and 30th in hard scoring. So I love Shane Lowry's ability to do that on this kind of a course. Sign me up for Luke List. Look at that upside there on this golf course. It's phenomenal. So I think I'm going to play a lot of Luke List at $7,800, especially the fact that he gains a stroke off the tee every single time he tees it up here. So that's nice to see. Bo Hassler and just doing his thing. I think he's going to be interesting and a little high owned, but maybe we don't go there. I really like him this week. He seems to be playing much better golf, but maybe we go to Adam Svensson instead of Bo Hostler in this range. Nick Dunlap not playing. Ryan Fox could be a sneaky play. He's long and heavy off the tee there. Tons and tons of distance. He's typically really sharp around the greens, I guess. I don't know. But he's an interesting play. I like him in a scrappy environment. I like that. We'll be going back to Billy Horschel. That absolutely ruined our chances. We went 33% Billy in our 150 lineup. So 50-something percent, 55 lineups or so had Billy. And 55 lineups were dead because he never made the cut. So shout out to Billy, who made a charge in round 3, but couldn't quite get across the finish line. I like his chances here. He's an under the radar guy at $7,400 that we're going to need to shine for us when we go heavy in the top of the board with the 4 guys above 8K. Billy is going to give us some salary relief at 74. Moving on down, Adam Schenk has played well at the Memorial, but I don't see him playing good golf lately, so we're out on him. Mackenzie Hughes, I love this. Mackenzie Hughes is $7,300. He's looking like he's going to be low owned, and he's got the 20th best course history at this venue on the south side. So he can scramble his face off. He's 13th and 9th in those 2 departments. He can do his thing. So love Mackenzie Hughes. Love what he can do. We'll see what he can get up to. Moving on down, Tom Hoagie, always in interesting situations, played very well on the South Course in the past. He's a low-owned guy, cheap guy that you can go to if you're looking for some of that. But I actually have two favorite guys down in the bottom here. And one of them is going to be by the name of Joseph Bramley. Yep. Life's good over here. Jonathan Vegas at $6,700. He's 2% owned. Take a look at his South Course history. 31st in the field. Hasn't been playing well at all. Life's going on over here in the Back Nine Bets household. Apologies. Jonathan Vegas's recent form's about as chaotic as it is here on the show right now. But he has played well on this golf course. I think if we pull up that last list, he's on it, right? I don't know. But he's a ball striking beast. He can pound greens in regulation. Look at this off the tee stuff. It's been very good lately. And if you take a look at what he typically does out of the rough, look at this weighted green regulation rate. He just is sensational out of the thick stuff. So that kind of makes so much sense at this golf course. We'll have to see what he can do with the putter. We can see what he can do with the wedges around the green. Another guy I don't mind is Alejandro Tosti. He's been my Corn Ferry Tour dude. He can blow up in a single round. He can make doubles and still shoot like 4 under par, 6 under par. That's what he does. He's also immensely long off the tee. He's 14th in strokes gained off the tee in the last little while. He's 2nd in driving distance in this field. So that's a cheap $6,600 guy I'll be looking to go to. Scooting on down even more, I think Jacob Bridgman is one of the Corn Ferry Tour guys that we really like. He's been doing some good stuff. I think he's also a little lengthy off the tee. 20th in strokes gained off the tee of the last 24 rounds. If you take a look at what he gets up to, it's accuracy and distance. He's a very good driver of the golf ball. $6,500, Jacob Bridgman. So we can see what he can do. It's been a short year for these guys to kind of prove themselves of what they can get up to. But if you take a look at what he did on the Corn Ferry Tour, he was inside the top 10 on the Corn Ferry Tour every 4 tournaments at a 24% rate. So love what he can get up to there, and then finished inside the top 20, 52% of the time. So lots to like from Jacob Bridgman in that department. Jake Knapp is another guy that I kind of like. He's kind of like a Chris Gotterup, but not quite the same. If you take a look at what Jake Knapp has been, Napa auto parts, he has got some of, I think Chris Gotterup has to be up there. But he looks like, according to the model, he's the first in, I don't know if that's exactly correct, but he's long off the tee. At least give him that. And I don't know I had the Corn Ferry Tour guys pulled up here too. Let's see. This is their stuff. Jake Knapp is at the top of my thing. What is his driving distance? Where is this driving distance over here? So this is the Corn Ferry Tour thing that I have put together That is available for the people. Yep, Jake Knapp. That makes a lot of sense. He's 324 yards off the tee. That's insane. So I take that back. We're not. He's a beast off the tee, old Jake Knapp. So he can hit it a country mile, and I like what he can get up to with the driver on these kind of courses. So $6,400. Let's go to Jake Knapp. Scooting on down the board all the way to Peter Malnati. Peter, top 40 Peter Malnati. 3 consecutive top 25s here. Hello, he's $6,300. So sign us up for that. I mean, the recent form is atrocious. Nothing good to show, but he loves this golf course. And I think it's got to do with his short game. And his approach play just dials it up here. So I will be leaning in on those kind of guys quite a lot this week. We'll see what we can get up to. Kind of scooting on down here. There's no one else I really prefer. So lots going on. Going to have to rely a few on these guys here in the bottom of the sixes to kind of really get us with that 8K and above guys in the lineup. But we've got Jonathan Vegas. We've got Toasty. We've got, do we go with Higo? He's pretty long off the tee. Solid off the tee. I don't know. Troy Merritt has been playing very well with the short game lately, and I think he can scramble his face off around here, and he's pretty accurate. So maybe he can do the thing with the accuracy at $6,600. Going to just have to rotate a few 6K guys in to try and figure it out. Robert McIntyre, another guy I'll be going to here. Course history is 34th in the field. Plays very good golf in this environment. So love what we're getting from him. And then Joseph Bramlett will be in there too. I think he'll come in a bit more at 2% though, but he'll give you some seriously good upside if you're looking for a $6,800 golfer, obviously. Let's see what he can do. It's going to be fun. And it's my man Ian from Flag Hunting Pod. We were in the Rotoballer PGA DMs today, and I'm in charge of the news desk. And Wilson Furr, I will defer to the last 24 total strokes gained just to prove my point. Because I filtered on this column to try and make sure that I gave everybody the best golfers in the field. And guess what? Wilson Furr, people. Where the hell is he? Here he is. All the way in 42nd in recent strokes gained over the last 24 rounds. And guess what? Shane Lowry and Hideki Matsuyama are nowhere to be found. Where the heck is Hideki? Oh, yeah, he is. So his recent 24 strokes gained total is 88th in the field. So I was just joking with you, and I was being rather sassy. I said, Wilson Furr is an objectively better golfer than Hideki Matsuyama. And it kind of sparked up a big conversation there. So I've spoken up Hideki once. Ian, I know, I'm surprised. I haven't read your article yet, but do you have Hideki Matsuyama in your outright card? Because I've seen a lot of people, and I think if you're an Hideki truther, I'm assuming that you are going to be playing him. And what I said earlier in the show is he's round one scoring on an easy golf course out there. Yep, 70-1. I'm with you. Beautiful. So I might jump in on a top 20 on Hideki once he's played the North course. I think he's going to get off to a relatively slow start. If he does, I'll take the gamble and take the better odds and wait for him to get over to the harder South, where he can kind of catch up on the field in that department. So I'm not an all-out Hideki hater or a Shane Lowry hater, but on a North course that's easy, I think I'm going to be out on him, and hopefully he can be part of the reason we cash our farewell fiver. So awesome stuff. Good luck. I hope everybody's bets come to fruition. I hope we have a great week. I hope at least the betting community can hit an outright this week, because we haven't done that in 3 weeks now. And the year is now 2024. We're almost in February. So good things to come. Don't forget to use code NEW for 30% off everything Rotoballer Premium. $17.40 a month, people. That's what it's like $209 for the year. It's insane. It's an insane deal. If you're just using the closing line value that we post in the Discord based off these bets, if you're just using Spencer's picks, it makes tons of sense. If you're just using the optimizers, if you're using the research station, if you're using all our premium articles, the stat buffets, Joe Nicely's Core 4, everything is just at a completely affordable price. So Help us, help you. Please support the pro. Please support the program. Please support rotoballer.com using code NEW. Get yourself 30% off over there. And that concludes episode 83, Keegs and Theegs. It's going to be a good week. I like where we're sitting. I like our placement bets. A little nervous about betting against our boy Greedo, but it's going to be okay. It's going to be a good week. We're going to have a good time. And go Joseph Bramlett, baby. Get yourselves inside the top 20 there. And we'll catch you guys on Tuesday or Monday for the PGA show. No, Sunday for the research show at 10 Eastern. Do that thing at 9 o'clock here in Central Time. So we'll have a good week and catch y'all next week, this week on Sunday. Bye.